Okay, well, we're just going to do a short one today, at least for right now. Going to focus in on the the Lamborghini LMDH. Get that puppy going. So what we're going to do first is do some 3D correlation on the SC63. So I do have this guy here. So what we'll need to do is come up with whatever the actual baseline numbers are. I don't know if we have those at hand, but we're going to get them. And then from there it's going to become a process of just whittling everything down into the model. If it ever opens. So as we've seen in the past, it always starts out, we'll adopt the lookup tables. Yeah, probably can't find those things. It doesn't matter, we're not even going to be looking at them because we're going to be making our own. That's pretty nice though. Look at that. Look at that. It's all pretty. All up and around here, yeah. Whoa. Hit Z, get us refocused. So let's take a look real quick here. Do we have anything that is using any sort of modifiers? I'm not seeing anything. What we're going to end up having to do is combine all of these things down, which most of them are labeled by part types, so that's not too bad. Some of the stuff we can get rid of, some of the stuff we don't worry about. Like this red. We're going to go ahead and call this old. Because I've kind of learned that I don't want to get rid of anything I don't have to. Yeah, so you can see how that's actually something we do want to keep. Old red. Fan. Oh, it must be like some sort of grill element. I don't have my reference images up yet to look at that. But before we do anything, let's go ahead and look at this stuff. So we're going to say old sidewall, because what I want to do is take some tires off of the current car and get those puppies in here, because not only are they already mapped, already have materials applied. Oh, you know what? I just realized this is kind of a goof on my part. I need to open up the last one that I did, because this one has the appropriate files applied. Which one do we want? We want the... Let's go with the Peugeot. Why not? This is going to have some files I have to replace, even though I don't want to. We'll just go ahead and close this. Yep, don't save. Don't worry about that. We'll start over fresh here, so you can kind of see what's going on. I like to start with a previously done file because it has all the material libraries and everything loaded into it. I don't have to do anything fancy or extra. I can just grab and go. It saves a bunch of time, a bunch of effort. Although there are a couple things that I do need to modify here in the materials because they are loaded with custom textures. There you go, in the different channels. And when you've got that, it creates kind of an issue because then you have to make sure you have those custom channels loaded, because if you don't, it becomes a problem. Okay, it's still taking its time. Whoop-de-doo. I do have to leave for dinner in just a little under an hour, so what we're going to try and do is get this 3D correlation done as quickly as possible. Alright, so there's our 9x8. I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, I'm going to keep the black. Does body have anything I want to keep? The fancy. This is the other thing, is that there might be components in here that I want to hold on to. Let's go ahead and delete. Now, first of all, I'm going to save as, because I don't want to accidentally overwrite my old stuff, or my the good stuff. This is Lamborghini SC63 00. Just going to do that, just save it on the desktop, that's fine. I'm just going to like get rid of this stuff to make things a little bit, whatever. Diffuser, I don't think there's really anything on there I need. I mean, I could potentially use those, I guess. Disk glow, we only need one. Disk, we only need one. Debris winglet, I'm going to keep that actually. We only need one. The reason why I'm keeping that is because it's a relatively flat object, so if I need to put anything in there for any reason, I've got it. Do I have anything for fasteners? Where are my parts? Alright, so that's got those. And those. Alright, there are my fasteners. I'm just going to leave those in there. PLEDs. Rim blur, I'll leave one of those. Rim, I'll leave one just for the moment. Not too worried about it. Rain light. Tires we're going to replace with the newer ones, so I'm not going to use that. Nope, get out of here. Stop it. Delete. Windows, those are custom, so we're not going to use those. Same with the shadow object. Wing, it's not actually a wing. It's basically a gurney flap. Oh, fasteners, isn't that nice? And delete that. I'm not going to use any of these. It's just taking up space. Old cockpit, new. I'm going to leave those for the moment. I don't know that I'm going to use anything in there, but I'm just going to leave them for right now. We'll see what happens. Lights. I think we're covered on lights. Parts fastener, high quality. Old rims, I'm not worried about those because we kind of have our rims. The bones, I'll look at some old bones when I bring them back in. Splitter, I'm not going to use anything off of that. I'm going to delete these, and the dash, and the cockpit new. Okay. So this seems pretty good for right now. Yeah, there's some good bits on here that we can hold on to. But we're going to go ahead and hide these things, which is fine. And then we're going to import, bring these guys in. And sorry, I almost opened the same one. And then we're going to go in here to yep, this one. Review. And bring this one up. We're just going to select all, bring them in. It's going to plop right there, right behind the 9x8, which I think is great. So there we go. Very cool. So you can see these are some of the old wheels, whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and grab you. And I'm going to group together old I really do need to get a little bit better at this and have a bit of software that does this for me. It's alright, this will work for now. Boop. Goodbye. This doesn't really mean anything. Okay. I even have these nice little clasps in there. This is a really detailed model. I love this. I really do. This is great. Okay. So this is our glass, it looks like. Yep, that's glass. This will actually be part of our Windows files. What am I doing? I'm getting carried away. I'm already jumping in. We don't want to do that. So I'm just kind of drooling here a little bit over some of the stuff that's on this car. Kind of look at it. These pieces right here, these can break off. I'm very pleased by that. I'm looking forward to that. Or, you know, any of this stuff can break clean away. I love my debris objects, not gonna lie. I know I get made fun of within our inner circles a little bit because of that. I don't care. I think that there's just not only something very cathartic about seeing all of those pieces of the car break away and fly into the air and make these spectacular motions and whatnot whenever you've got a big crash, but I mean, it gives a lot of realistic feedback to the drivers as they're going along, because you see things coming off the car, you see a car going around with stuff missing. It all kind of blends together, makes sense as to like, oh, this thing has been to war. It's been out there. It's been doing stuff. They've been engaged. So to me, it makes a whole lot of sense that you would want to have that stuff showing up, flying about, because it's way more immersive. I don't know what this is. Anyway. So what we need to do, I'm going to go into the Isota Fraschini. Fraschini? How are those goofballs pronounce it? And if you're a goofball Italian, I apologize. I say it with the most kindness and respect in my heart. But you do have funny pronunciations sometimes. So we're going to go down here to the tires. We'll go ahead and just grab the front left. We don't need a whole lot of stuff here. Did it bring it in? Where did she go? There you are, T-6. Alright. So this tire is sized appropriately. It's where it needs to be in terms of width and tread depth, all this fun stuff. It's already mapped, all of that. So what we need to do is we'll go over here, we'll activate pivot only, effect pivot only, centered object. We'll do the same with our rim, effect pivot only, centered object. Same to object. Oh, I guess it already went. Cool. And then we're going to use our align and do it right to that guy. Okay. So it's what's there. Did I not get that? Son of a bean. Didn't get any of those. I don't think I can drag them in. No, because why would it be, you know, convenient? So stupid. Whatever, it's gone now. That's all I care about. So you can see how our tire is a little bit on the big side. And this is the front left one. I'm actually kind of surprised by that. So I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to, and you have to do the selection method and pull it out. This looks pretty good. Okay, so it does. Oh. So immediately looking at this, it appears that the tread width is a little bit incorrect, possibly. Let's take a look. If we pull this up, tire tread, let's just take a look, see what they got. We're going to take a look at the measurement. So here, oh goodness me. Well, that's something I forgot to do, is resize this. But this is going to be at 38 wide. Why are we... X, yeah, X. Maybe not. Hold on. Gotta scale everything. So if we go boop, and boop, and boop, boop. Maybe we don't. This is actually the right scale. So we're at 5.05 meters. So this is actually part of what we need to do. I'm going to bring up my Discord where I keep all of this information. Going to go into our dev channel. I know you can't see this. I don't want you to see this. And that's okay. So apparently we do have real specs. So we're at 505. The real is at 5.10. Width is at 2.04. This is actually different because this is at 2.0254. So 2.025. And we're not worried about from the under tray. We want to do, let's see, height is 1.074, which 0.87. Yep. So if we do this, 1.17. Actually, that's exactly right. With that tire on, it is exactly correct. Right where it needs to be. Length is showing 5 centimeters too long, though, compared to the actual thingamadoo. I'm wondering if that's just because of the measuring points. Sorry, I said too long. The model is not long enough. It's short by 5 centimeters. And then you ask yourself, you know, is 5 centimeters worth it? Well, that's where we're going to come into things. So wheelbase, that's going to be important. So if we look here, 3.182, 82. And then the real one is 3.148. So we actually need to bring the wheelbase down a little bit. Let's go ahead and get this wheel, this tire, where it needs to be. So in order to do that, we actually need to bring the rim in more. What is this? Oh, that's our tire. Yeah. So I'm less concerned with that. So measuring this is 0.286 whatever. 2.896, so it's 0.29, which is correct. That's what it should be. The front tire width, holy snot. And this is really too bad because we have some really beautiful suspension geometry going on in here. Like this is a really good model. Very cool. It's too bad we're going to be just swapping it all out, but like especially these discs. I mean, 6,700 polygons for that. Yeah. I mean, it's nice that it's you know, semi-realistic, although they don't put holes in theirs. That ain't how they roll. So we're going to just go ahead and grab these. Boop. And we're going to say old, 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 old. What else do I have that's old? Ah, those are the 9x8, whatever. So group, group, old, old, old. Everything is old. Cool. Okay, that's not what I told you. I was typing old, but you're going to just do whatever the hell you want anyway, I guess, so cool. And these calipers are chunky, which they probably are in real life, but I mean, it's also pretty resource heavy. So we're going to take our own and plop those in. Again, they're already, everything's done, they're optimized. I mean, these are parts of the car that you're barely seeing anyway. They don't need to be that detailed. Some people are going to argue that they should be, that blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, you know, it needs to be magnificent. Nobody cares. Nobody who's actually driving these things cares. And if they do, it's an extremely small group, of which half of them don't even know what they're talking about. Like, they'll get stuff wrong. Like, they'll look at those things and be like, oh, yeah, it's supposed to have the holes in there. It's like, have you actually looked at real disc brakes on GTPs or LMH cars, hypercars, any of them? The answer would be no. They have not. Some have. And you know what? For those who are really into the high level of detail and whatnot, that's fine. I applaud you. And if hardware was able to actually run with that level of detail, particularly on lower PCs and all that, that'd be great. That's the thing. A lot of these people, too, who complain, will say, like, oh, you know, it's not very detailed, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they're trying to run it on, like, you know, a potato Celeron processor unit that can't do anything. And then complain that they can't race because the quality is so bad, or their performance is so bad, I should say. It's like, well, you're gonna have to pick a lane. I don't know what else to tell you other than that. So anyway, back over to this stuff. I was kind of getting distracted there. Try not to let it happen too much. Gonna grab our border here, and I want this to, let's see, I don't think there's one in between there, so we can flex this back a little bit. And I'm going to get edge, and then I'm going to draw you down. Oops, no, not down, I'm sorry. Yeah, in. And I'm going to push you back just a little bit, so that way that isn't quite as sharp a transition there. I mean, you want it to be kind of sharp. You don't want it to be like stupid, just because you're gonna get goofy rim stuff happening. We don't want to deal with that. Anyway, so that looks pretty good there. Now for this puppy, this looks like a job for me. Bring this in. I don't think this will be that big of a deal. Yeah, because it's all nicely connected and everything in there. So you can see like you've got the outer part there going in. It's almost like it's connecting to the rim. I'm not really too worried about the inside. You know, because it's fine, whatever. So that's brought in, and I guess for now I can probably copy that over to here too. The old black shiny. Yeah, that's fine, whatever. It's going to be the same over here. And I'm going to affect pivot point. Doopy doop. Doop doop. I'm going to now mirror. And we're going to do copy. Badoop. There we go. Cool. That's all lined up nice and pretty. This thing is all nice and lined up on the center line. So this is good. So that one's taken care of, and we've got our tire. Actually, let's pull up a reference image real quick. I think I should have these. Let me give me reference pics. Come on, server, load them up. It's going to take a hot second. While that's loading, let's see if we have anybody popping in. Alex? Ross Alexander? I think you saw the Alexander in my name and thought that was the first name. Menono. Yep, that's it's just Ross. Ross Alexander is the whole first name. It's hyphenated, but you know, it's nothing too crazy. So I'm trying to get a good view of that front wheel arch. So that tire actually fills it up pretty good, which makes me think, kind of see it here. So you can see, it's unfortunately not great. So there's a pretty good gap here. Now, that actually might not be too bad in terms of just how it would realistically be. It's really hard to tell in there. I don't know, maybe you all can see that a little bit better than I can because you've got your screen brightnesses up or whatever, but it also might be looking a little bit closer because it might be sitting lower in the car, it might be cambered in more, I don't know. All I know is that this is the correct size, and if we bring up a picture of the front tire from our lovely member Brian Van Bosekum from the Netherlands. Now, this might be slightly deceptive in that it is, I mean, you do have a little bit of a panel gap there, or a little bit of a gap around the wheel tire. This is not perfectly symmetrical either. It's not perfectly aligning the way it probably should. That could be a problem here when you actually have the tire starting to turn, and it looks like it is fairly flush, the outside part of the car. So what that tells me is that while the geometry is in pretty good order, and it is a very detailed and good model in that respect, we are going to have problems with the sizing. So like I said before, the length of the car seems to be a little bit short in the model, so we could go up 5 centimeters, and that might actually be enough to give us that space there inside of the car. So what I think I'll do, this will be a little bit of an operation, but before I do that, I want to really quick go back here. I'm looking at my wheelbase, which on the model is currently bigger than the wheelbase that it should be. At least that's what we have here. So I don't know if that's what they're calling it, Lamborghini. I think it is 3.148. I'm going to just real quick do some fact checking. I don't think I... This one is too small on wheels by small bits. Subtract what's change. Let me look at Lamborghini.com. Come on. Okay, accept all the freaking cookies. I don't care. Don't want to accept them all, but... Displacement. Expand all feature highlights. Engines, aerodynamics, blah, blah, blah. I'm just looking through technical specifications. Layout, pushrod, front track, 1.65 meters, wheelbase 3.148 meters. So yeah, so we're basing the wheelbase off of what they have, which means that when they did their wheel on this model, it was no bueno. So if we look at this again, we go, there's a tire sidewall. Don't care too much about that, but I feel like it's going to cover the... Alright, so if we look at this, that's our tire there. So if we go over here and look at the size, saying it's 0.35, which that's closer to the rear tire as we look at it. The rear tire is... Actually, that is the width. Is that the width? Yeah, tire width is... Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at what it is in the model. Yeah, tire width on the rear is 0.34. That's what it should be. On this model, it's going to be 0.371, whatever. I mean, you can see it's chunker in there. But the problem here is that like, they made the tires, or the wheel is too small for what it should be. Got a tire that is sized appropriately. The tire diameter, I have 0.665. It actually needs to be bigger. It needs to be... Oh, I'm sorry, I'm still on this one. So 0.71, that's this one. 0.71, this is the correct size. The old one, too small. They don't run that size. So yeah, it looks right for the model, but it's not correct. So what it probably means is that this area in the front, while the shape and everything are probably correct and it looks like it's in the right place, it's not the right size. Big bums. Anyway, so just checking out here to make sure that it's kind of just barely, it's right there. I mean, it's right with the rim. I mean, the rim's going to be the point of comparison. I mean, I'm just concerned about this part here at the front. Sorry, I'm just taking a look through. I'm just checking here. So our wheelbase is too big, I think I said, right? Yeah, wheelbase is 3.182. It's 20. No, sorry, went a little crazy there. So uh, it's a little under. It's like 3.6 centimeters. Yeah, that's about right. 3.6 centimeters too big. So just letting our fearless leader know that we're going to have some issues with this car. So if I take this tire, if I clone it, copy, not an instance. I hate doing instances. I mean, they have their purpose, but for sim racing, nope. So I only right now I can actually import the correctly sized one and put it on here, but you know, let's just do that actually. File, import, merge. It's doing its thing, it's doing its thing, it's gonna pull it in, here we go. Okay, so typo your left, okay. Use scene material. Where you at? There it is. Boop. Man, that's kind of sitting low. Alright, so I think we did the rim before. Effect pivot point, centered object. I think it was before anyway, but alright, so line. Boop. Okay. Alright. So, that actually looks like it's not really touching anything. That one sits in there a lot better. Well, hold on a second. I haven't pulled it out. Let's see. How does this look? So that's pretty much right along there. So I need to pull that in, but that's about where it needs to be, and it looks like it's... So it might end up clipping up into there a little bit, like when the thing's going. But I mean, that fits in there fairly well. That is pretty tight anyway. I mean, look at that. If anything, it's actually tighter back here. I'm impressed. For something that was probably done, I want to say freehand, this seems like it's pretty dang spot on. In fact, we got some of the car here. I'm just curious. Yeah. Alright, so I'll have to go in here and like deal with some of this. That goes back and nice into there. We'll have to make that nice and dark like we kind of looked at before. It comes into over here. So that goes into a thing there. No problem. We'll deal with it. This will be very cool though. I'm very pleased with how this is going to look, I think. Because you're going to have all this stuff going. I don't know how much we're going to be able to get fancy with the rFactor 2 code for how some of this stuff works. This is the rear glass, but that's going to be like where we have the texturing underneath. Of course, you got your chunky bits here, and you got all kinds of, you know, enforcement arms and all this other crap. I mean, you even have the guides for the diffuser here, like where all the under tray has got, yeah, all that fun stuff. Normally I like to knock bits of the diffuser off, but that's because I'm usually lacking this kind of stuff. But now, now we got this stuff. So I think what that means is, like this bottom part will come off. That'll definitely become a debris object and just break away. Same with this piece up here. Maybe. I have to look how this connects. Yeah, it can still come off. Like if we make this disappear. Like you can kind of see through some of that stuff there, but we'll attach it so that way it's all in there. I mean, you'll still have, yeah, you'll have chunks of things hanging off of here. I'll have to connect that bit. But it'll just be kind of hanging out in the air. That'll actually be kind of cool. Because that is what happens. I mean, some of this other stuff will be like, you know, whatever, but yeah. Yeah, so that, I think that'll become a piece of debris. You obviously have your wing element here with the strakes going along the top. I mean, that'll make it look like, hey, once this thing starts getting clattered, it's going to look properly beat to hell. Up in the front, obviously, dive planes, those will come off. We might have, I think this is going to be too much. Well, so the only reason I may not have that part break away is just because it's going to be carrying a bit of information. Like if we bring this back over, you can see it as well there. Yeah, so that's going to have like the number plate and that kind of stuff on it. It's kind of cool though, because I mean, once that breaks out, you get a really good shot at like those controlling arms and stuff in there, the suspension elements. I mean, that might be kind of cool, to be honest. Anyway, well, this is connected to the, it's connected to the body, so those can break away and not. We're basically, you have, like I said before, you've got 8 debris objects separate from the 4 wheels and then the 2 wings. Those are hard coded, so you have 6 plus 8. 8 are kind of like free for alls. So you can define them as whatever you want, debris objects, and it's all good. And you definitely want to have your dive planes. Those are, they don't affect aero when they break off. I mean, if you're getting damage, it's going to count towards the body, so you'll get some of that affecting aero. It's not going to be quite the same. Whereas, like if you lose a dive plane, you're gonna definitely have some loss of downforce at the front, so you're gonna get understeer, that kind of stuff. You'll go faster, but that won't be the case. Instead, you'll just get regular body damage, whatever. So it's getting close to go time, or I gotta go. So what I need to do is finish this correlation. So we've got this guy here, and I'm going to, yeah. Let's go ahead and set this back to center point. And we're going to mirror this. I didn't mean to do that. Copy, yep, thank you. Alright, so that's all fancy dancy. Let's get you all gussied up. Borderline. So this one's going to, okay, there's our little handler. And so that, because that one's right there, we don't have to do the same thing we did on the last one, I don't think. My biggest concern is that you'll see it like popping up through there, which is annoying. Let's go to the edge. Just tuck that in a little bit. This can be refined if it has to be. Like I said, I'm not going to be hypercritical about it. Okay. Oh, nice. I got that in one shot. And again, we'll just bloop. That's fine. I don't care about the inside as much. Barely see it. You won't catch those details, and if you do, then we'll fix it later. It's not a problem right now. I don't need to get caught up in those details. Through that center. Mirror. Cool. Done. Alright. Now we are going to have to fix those UV maps, so that way they're correct, but again, we're not worried about that right now. We'll do that in our graphical refinement pass. Right now, we want to check that guy. I think, you know what, looking at the car here, I'm wondering if they actually had the right sized wheels, tires on this thing. Those are 3471s. Actually, that's kind of nice. Those are right there. So 3471, so that gives us a size. Where's my other one? Other picture. Do we have a close-up of the front tire here? I thought we did. Brian did such a good job on the other ones. Yeah. 29. 77 or 71. So yeah, that is the right size. So when you look at it, that is the size it should be. So if the car isn't matching, it's not our fault. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. Why is that carbon? Oh, because it's a swoop. I can live with that. It's just another thing I don't have to like throw textures on. Usually you can see like straight back in, so you have to like kind of hide some stuff. This model is nicely done in that respect. It's almost like it was set up to be made for people doing this kind of stuff. Real quick, I want to check the UV mapping to see what kind of state it's in. Hey, well, no, bummer. Gonna have to pull it all apart. They just basically did a top-down projection mapping. Probably because they didn't have anything here that really, it was just all green. Bummer. But it's at least cardoned off, so that won't be a huge thing to deal with. It'll take a little bit more time, but it's not going to be the end of the world. Can deal with it. This underside area I'm going to have to deal with. Yeah, okay. Anyway, back to correlation. So let's take a look here. We got these wheels. Let's grab the tires. We got 1.99, so it's about 2. I mean, that could, we're just going to call it 2, I think, in this case. Is it model 0.182? Okay, alright, so we got saying track width 1.66. He's saying make it 1.668. 1.63. Alright, so so we got 1.9907. I'm just going to stick with that as what it is right now. And then, so bring this up. 0.9907 minus, we want to do 1.284. 1.70, no, that sucks. So the real track width is 1.65. The model was with the larger tires at 1.66. Now it's gotten bigger. Yeah, 1.7023. It's madness. Let's check the rears. This is going to also be madness, I think. So this one's 2.0045 as you see, minus one of the widths here. And again, we've adjusted these so this isn't going to matter too much, but I like to be precise. 389, 1.666. So rears are at 1.666. Just coordinating back with my engineer here. So he's saying 0.666 minus, he wants to take it down because he's trying to keep the relationship the same, the geometry between the wheelbase and the track widths, because that ratio is what's going to determine basically how the car handles. There's a little bit more to it than that, but that's the general idea. That's going to be where most of it's coming from. So he wants 3.5 centimeters, so divided by 2. So 0.0175 is what it needs to move. So if we say alright, so we're going to grab that, we're going to say making it smaller makes it go out, so actually we need to go in. I did not think 2 centimeters would look quite like a lot. Did I do that right? Just to double check. 175. Yep. Obi KB. 175. Boop. Okay, so that's moved in. I mean, I can adjust that stuff, whatever. This isn't even the right disc, but I'm just going to leave that for now. Negative 0.0175. I'm going to have to leave here in just a minute, so we'll just have a short stream. I'll probably be able to come back later. Hmm. So he wants to move the front end 1.668. .702 minus 1.668, 0.034, 0.0, so it's going to basically be the same. Yeah, 0.01. Don't do that. .017. Okay, so looking at those for right now, but I'm gonna have to stop there because I gotta go grab dinner, and maybe I'll start up another one here in just a bit. Thanks for sticking by as we go through these critical